Hello, hello. Who's there? Just checking in to see who's having all the fun in the bush. I know it's late. It's probably 10:45 on the East Coast. This is the Virginia Bushcrafter. Just wanted to come on and see if anyone's available for a chat. Hey, I see we got one person in there. Thanks for dropping in. Even have a thumbs up. That's even better. Hey, coffee first, then speak. How are you doing? Hey, Vision, how you doing? For you to drop in, Vision. How's Cole doing? I know Cole's getting larger, man. You might want to claim Cole on your income tax. Yeah, man. I know he's gonna be a big boy, man. But yeah, I'm glad you guys can drop in. I just, Cole is, yeah, I bet he is, man. That's gonna be a huge guy, man. But you know what? That's gonna be a very good protector. Hey, McBean, how you doing? I saw you in the gym today, man. You give me motivation. 10 weeks old? Okay, cool. Yeah. Wow, 10 weeks, that's really fast. That's really fast. It's been that, wow, over 2 months. Yeah, man. Yeah. My son used to have a Rottweiler. I think he was a German Rottweiler. He was like 130 pounds. Man, that his name was Major. He was 8 weeks when you got him. Okay. Yeah, man. Vision, blink your eyes a couple of times. This is going to be a year. I bet he has a healthy appetite. Yeah, I bet he has a healthy appetite, man. Yeah, okay. You had a rock wild when he was 175. Wow, that's massive. 175. Yeah, I thought 130 was large, but yeah, 175. That's massive, man. Massive. Yeah, you know the thing about having a pet. Sometimes when I go into the bush, I'm saying, man, it'd be great to have a dog with me because that's a great security system, a great security asset. But my issue is it works so I can't hear anything, too much noise. Okay, well, McBean, I definitely appreciate you coming in anyway. I hope you can hear something. But Cole eats high protein kibbles and raw. Yeah, my son, his Rockwaller was eating. I think it was something called Eukanuba or Ekanuba or something like that. Yeah, yeah, Eukanuba. I think that's what my son's Rockwaller was eating. But sometimes when I'm in the bush, I'm saying, it'd be great to have a dog there. I'm sure I would sleep a lot more comfortable. But the issue with me is that, you know, you have to be there to care for the dog. You got to walk the dog. You have to spend time with him. And right now, that's the problem I have. I barely have time to spend with myself. But yeah, I really wish, man, Rottweiler or German Shepherd. I'm not too keen on pit bulls though. Hey, Black Guns and Garden, how you doing, man? I'm glad you could drop in. I know you still got that beautiful garden going on, man. But I haven't been getting your notifications. It's a lot of content creators. I'm just not getting their notifications. But it's like the ones that come on that have a schedule. I know when they're coming in, so I get to see them. But Yeah, man, it's like hit and miss with me. But yeah, I haven't been in the bush for a while, so I said let me just go in here and see what's going on with everyone. Yeah, but yeah, I was just thinking tonight, man. I wanted to just see if anyone's been going into the bush. Hey, Rebecca, Touch by Yarns, how are you doing? I know you're making some lovely, lovely caps, I bet. Yeah, I used to have a friend. She did a lot of yarning, and she would make hats and blankets for the babies at the hospital. She loved doing that. Yeah, she was really, really good at knitting. Hey, Warmstrong, how you doing, man? It's good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah, man, I enjoy listening to Armstrong and Betty, man. That is such a bubbly mixture. Listen to those two. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Hey, Yardbird, how you doing, man? Yeah, you haven't seen me in a minute. You know why? Because I haven't been in the bush, man. I've been visiting relatives. So, but I miss being in the bush. I'm just trying to keep myself busy. But I'm gonna get some fishing in. Because I think fishing is part of prepping. But let me tell you a conversation I had with a guy. You know how they say, well, you can go 3 days without water, 3 days without food, so on and so forth. I'm saying, with me being a vegetarian, first of all, I don't think I'm gonna make it one day without water. Being in the bush, harvesting wood, processing wood, I'm gonna need that water. And to go 3 days without water and 3 weeks without food, and being a vegetarian, I bet you I'll learn how to harvest squirrels, rabbits real quick because I haven't learned to forage yet. I was reading some things about only thing I've ever foraged was pine needles. I made some tea, but I haven't really foraged any food. And so I'm saying, if I had to be out there now, hey Vegas, how you doing? I haven't seen you in a while. But if I had to be out in the bush and forage some food right now, I don't know if I'd make it, man. But one thing I would do, I'd make sure I acquired taste for some squirrel, rabbit, fish, deer, or something. But yeah, it's so many aspects to being in the bush. Yeah, you've been fishing quite a bit. Yeah, nice white trout and redfish. Wow, redfish. I've never. Well, I think redfish you catch those in. Is that salt water? Hey, Keisha, how you doing? Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, I think redfish is salt water. I had some neighbors in Texas. They used to go out to Corpus Christi and catch redfish. But I'm the guy. I like to fish off the banks. Yeah, I like to fish off the banks, and let me tell you why. A lot of guys they go out on the chartered boats. They say all they have to do is go on the boat. They don't have to take a rod, they don't have to take bait or anything like that. And I'm sure that's a lot of fun. But I like to fish off the bank because I think it's more of a challenge. My thing is that I know bass hang on the edge, and my objective is can I get this lure under those branches? If I can get this lure under those branches, I'm going to pull out a bass. I used to do a lot of catfish. Well, at night, I'll do catfishing because, I don't feel like losing lures at night and all of that. But during the day, I'm fishing for bass, man. I'm using top water bait, toppers, or I'm using grub, stick bait, crankbait, spinner bait. Yeah, that's that. But I haven't been fishing in a while because I've been in the bush, man. The bush, um, the bush has something. I think sometimes for me, the bush is like when people play golf. They say golf becomes an addiction. the bush becomes an addiction to me because it seems like I will never ever complete doing what I'm doing. Because when I go into the bush, especially by myself, it's like, why when I leave, it's like, why didn't I do that? I could have done this. I could have done this better. I've got to try this next time. And it's never ending because I've been thinking, I'm trying to put something together, you know, bushcrafting. For me, let's be honest, what is bushcrafting? Well, first of all, bushcrafting starts before you leave your house. You should know exactly where you're going before you leave your residence. That means learning how to read a topo map, learning how to efficiently use a compass, learning how to use the ranger beads, um, a protractor. That's step number one. And then letting someone know where you are, when you get there, when you're going to be back, letting them know something about your medical. That's part one for me of going into the bush. Now, many times when I go into the bush, I'll let someone know where I'm going. But the thing is, yeah, they have the address to the kiosk. But if I need them to come in at 1 or 2 in the morning, are they really going to find me? No. I tell you who will find me, though, that would be the game warden. But that's the first step. Um, the next step is building a shelter. Now, I like tarps because they're portable, make many designs. But with building a shelter, it involves your cutting tools. It involves a paracord. It involves your food. It takes some time to build your shelter. Yeah, I can put up a tarp and lean to real quick. But so let's look at leaving your residence. That's number one. That's part of bushcrafting. Building your shelter. That's number two. Number three to me is water as opposed to food, because they say you can go 3 days without water and 3 weeks without food. So water is going to be more important to me. Now, either you take enough water in with you, or you have to source your water. Now, water involves a lot, because what does it mean? If you have to source your water, you're going to have to filter your water. You got to filter the water to remove what's that, protozoans and viruses and all that stuff. Yeah, so you got to have the water. You have to filter it. Then you have to purify it. Now remember, you're going to use that water also to do your cooking. And then when you boil that water, you got to let it cool down. And what do they say? If you're at ground level, 6,500 feet, you let that water boil for 1 minute. If you're above 6,500 feet, you let that, hey, Red Scout, how you doing? You let that water boil for 3 minutes or longer. But I let that water boil for 10 minutes. So water involves a lot. So we have leaving your residence. I look at it as a tree trunk. And then you have the branches, the protractor, the compass, the topo map. Okay, then the next branch is your shelter, your paracord, your cutting tools, your bandana, all of that. The next thing I look at, the next tree trunk is going to be the water. You either bring water with you or you have to source your water. The next tree trunk I'm going to say is food. Now, I used to just fix one meal that day, but you got to bring some type of granola bars or something to snack on to keep some carbs in you, because you're going out and getting wood, you're bringing it back, you're processing it. And when I go out and I know I'm going to be there all night, I don't stop harvesting and processing wood until maybe an hour before sundown. So that's the next thing. That's the next tree trunk, processing all of that wood, harvesting and processing that wood. The next tree trunk is going to be the fire. Now, the fire to me is very easy to start, but I don't think there's anything difficult about the fire. That's the thing that I like the most because you're going to use the fire to cook. Use to find some birch trees and tap. Yeah, birch is fantastic because it's oily. And hey, Jason Ewan, how you doing? Thanks for dropping in. But getting that fire. Once you get the fire started, you're good. You just have to maintain that fire. And for what I've experienced is that the more coals you get, seems like that fire burns even faster, So faith without work, is a deal. Yeah. So the fire is the next thing. And that's one thing, man. I really like the fires, man. It's like that serenity, that crackling and popping. And then I look at fire as being a safety as well, to maybe help keep predators away. But I understand fire will not always keep bears away. I've never had any problem with any animals, So then you have the fire. So the tree trunks are leaving your residence, building your shelter, water, your food, your fire, then your first aid kit. Everyone is going to have a different first aid kit, but there are certain things that everyone should have in their first aid kit. That's the next tree trunk. But also other things like communication, your telephone, your battery pack. I always carry, when I'm overnight, I carry three with battery pack and solar pack, three of them. And then I have another battery pack that's fully charged when I get there. So those are a lot. I just try to put all of that together and look at them as a tree trunk with branches. And that's why I say, man, it's always so much to bushcrafting that it's never ending. And bushcrafting, guys, bushcrafting to me is a sport. Just like football players, they practice, tennis players practice, swimmers practice, basketball athletes practice. They all practice. So bushcrafting is not just a innate ability. You have to actually practice that stuff. Hey Penny, how you doing, man? Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, I hope I don't miss anyone in the chat. But bushcrafting is a sport and it requires practice. And that's why some people may say, you always say learn and practice, because learning to me is reading, watching YouTube, people like Corporate Corner, Dave Canterbury, JJ Outdoors, DC Outdoor, watching these individuals, that's learning. And then I have to go out and practice. So it's like theory and practicality. You can practice at home. I've practiced things in my backyard and went out to the bush. They work, but it's something about being out in the bush by yourself, especially when it's cold. And what I found out, for me, it's even better to be out there when it's cold, because right now, building a fire, the last time I was in the bush and I built a fire, man, if you can, but still put your faith in God, always, always. But building that fire in the summertime, wow. Now I've been out there and built a fire in the summer, and it was like 90 degrees during the day, and at night the temperature would drop down to 30. Hey, I was glad I had that fire, But I think lately I wouldn't even think about building a fire, But I'm going to be doing a meetup with some relatives, and it's going to be a lot of ladies. And I'm just thinking, what's going to be one of my main objectives? They're all relatives. I think one of my main objectives is going to be at least having a lady build a fire, having a lady purify some water. And if I can just do those two things, I think I'm going to have fun, and I've taught and conveyed something. Because for individuals that have never done that before, it's quite a challenge. I think it's a challenge for bushcrafting is game, and don't always try to do everything. Sometimes you have to let the game come to you. Yardbird, that is so true. And it's taken me almost a year and a half to realize that. You I have never, and this used to frustrate me. I've never done every single thing I wanted to at one time. I sometimes I got there for a day. I get some things done, but there's always some things that I never accomplished because I ran out of time, and it was just difficult. And let me tell you this one thing that happened. I sometimes I take two pair of gloves. I take some cloth gloves and I take leather gloves. I use cloth gloves for entering the bush and sometimes for gathering wood and so forth. And I'll use leather gloves when I'm going to do any type of cutting or chopping. And I've never had a problem tying knots with my cloth gloves on. I went out there one time and it was cold as all get up. I could not tie a single knot. I That was so strange. So I took the gloves off and I was able to tie the knots. And I said to myself, okay, now I understand why I've seen individuals like Cole Cracker that wear the gloves with the fingertips out. I thought it was just a stylish thing, but those gloves have a purpose to leave your fingertips free, so you can tie knots and everything like that. But I've yet to get some. But that was a lesson learned. But I'm gonna tell you guys, man, it's bushcrafting. It's a very good sport, and the thing about bushcrafting, way past my bedtime, up at 5. Have a great night. Okay, coffee first, but I definitely appreciate you coming in. Yeah, vision fire. But something else about bushcrafting, it will really encourage you to get in shape. I'm really not in the shape that I really want to be. I've been lifting weights, but I've been doing light weights and repetition. But I'll start and then I'll get off course. Start and hey Penny, how you doing? I'll start lifting, get off schedule. But it requires stamina. Um, and the thing is, you can't overdo it. You have to learn to rest. You have to learn to take a break. You really learn your body. But yeah, lifting weights is great, but I think even one of the better exercises is just walking. Man, I used to go to the park. You notice I said used to go to the park. I have a couple of pair of gloves I carry. That's a good idea. Um, that's a really good idea. Just keep some, you know, keep some gloves with you. Because when I first started bushcrafting, I go out there, it's like, hey, where's my other gloves? And there's this one spot I go to. I'm always looking for that one glove. I lost a glove and I keep going back to that spot. I can't find it. But yeah, and I always carry like two pair of gloves. But I know I'm skipping around, but what was I saying about walking? You know, um, yeah, I was doing this 3 mile walk, and I used to do it a lot. And but since I started bushcrafting, it's like I try to get in the bush 3 times a month, 2 Sundays or Sunday and Saturday, and then do an overnighter, and then a fourth weekend, just do a rest. Maybe something in the backyard or something like that. But I mean, I guess I'm still looking for a KP. How you doing? Still looking for that fulfillment. And the thing about bushcrafting, um, it's really hard to find people to do it with because of work schedules and so forth. And I like doing bushcrafting. When you do it alone, you're forced to learn, and you're going to learn what you don't know. But I also like doing bushcrafting with other individuals as well. As a matter of fact, me and the Prepared Irishman and some other guys, we're planning to do something sometime in October or November in Pennsylvania. So I really hope that comes to AG Ma. How you doing? Thanks for dropping in. I appreciate all you guys for dropping in. But me and the Irish repairman, hey, Sister Marie Kitchen. Hello, everyone. Good to see you. Virginia Bushcraft is on fire with the knowledge tonight. But you know what? I don't know if, yeah, I guess it is knowledge because it's a lot, but it's so enjoyable. I mean, to me, it's an escape. You know, when I was in high school, I played in the band. Well, first, let me tell you this. When I was young, I played Little League Baseball. And hey, Mark, how you doing? Thanks for dropping in. I played baseball. I love playing on the defensive end. I played in the outfield because I felt good just being out there, just me and two other guys. I didn't like playing the infield or anything like that. So it's like, I guess I'm going to say I didn't like being close in. So played baseball. I loved being in the outfield. In high school, I was in the band. In the stands, we'd be playing I'd be playing my saxophone and be playing our music and everything. The most comfortable place was being on the field during the halftime performing. Why? Because I was away from the crowd. Then, let's see, after playing in the band, I picked up swimming. I loved doing the swimming because when I was in the water, I felt safe. Hey, who's going to bother me in the water? And I love being underwater. From swimming, it led to bike racing. I love doing the bike racing. Never won a race, but it was a camaraderie. But the thing is, I didn't like. I'll be leaving Thursday on a camping trip to. Okay, you're going to Nevada. Boy, I bet you that's going to be fun. Trout fishing. I bet that's going to be fun. But when it came to the bike racing, riding in the criteriums, it was fun. But being able to pack of 30 guys, I didn't like that. But when I got out on my own and ride like 50 miles out, 50 miles back, I'm by myself. It was great. I loved it. So now when I'm out hunting or bushcrafting, I'm basically by myself. And I think I like being alone somewhat. But nevertheless, though, it's still great to be with fellow bushcrafters. I've done some bushcrafting with other guys before, and it was a lot of fun because you learn, and it's always good to be a student more so than a teacher. Sometimes I'll see guys doing something, it's like, I'm just wondering why don't they try this? But that just shows me there's always more than one or two ways of doing something. But one thing that I do when I go bushcrafting, I carry a lot of ways of starting a fire. And I'm starting to think, do I really need to take all of that? One thing I'll always take as a staple item is cotton balls and Vaseline. There's always the birch bark that I want to take. That's great. The fat wood. Then sometimes I have just a Gorilla tape. You can tear it. That edges, great fire starter. Bicycle tubes, a great starter. And I'm wondering, do I really need all of that? I really don't. But one is none, two is one, so on and so forth. But and I'm always thinking, if I'm out there by myself, yeah, it's good. But I won't be going back into the bush until maybe like this is August until like October. One of my objectives is going to be lighten my load. I'm always carrying 45 to 50 pounds. But some of the things that I'm just not going to do without is an axe, a saw, a knife, and a knife. So I'm either going to have my chopping tool is going to be an axe or a hatchet or a large machete. I'm always going to carry a knife up to 10 inches or maybe 6 to 10 inches. I'm going to have that knife. I'm going to have a saw. And then I'm always going to have a backup knife, with a Scandinavian grind. So those are 4 staple things I'm always going to take. Something I like my load, wow, to 30 pounds. Man, that's good. Yeah, so Mark, you're going to be camping with 6 friends. Last year, a bear got their ice chest. Oh, you're right. You always learn something from your friends. Yeah, that's so true. That's so true. But wow, man, that's pretty interesting, Vision. Hey, Jason, how you doing? Yeah, that's pretty interesting that you got your backpack down to 30 pounds. Um, and see, when I go into the bush and I'm by myself, I'll carry 240-ounce clean canteens, a 32-ounce, 228 ounces, and a 16 ounce. And the reason I carry so much is when I am by myself, I want to make sure that fire is out when I leave. Now, I don't like to leave until I can put my hand on that where that fire was, and I don't feel any warmth, because I'm sure you guys are aware that a fire, you can have an ember, and that ember can last up to a week and catch a root, travel, and you can get that forest or the bush, you can set it on fire. So I always carry water, enough water, just to make sure that the fire is fully extinguished. But yeah, that's one of the. I think when I carry, I'm sometimes I'll go in with over a gallon, and I think a gallon of water weighs what, 10 pounds. I think that's about right. So I have the water. I always carry equipment. Uh, Trent must have read the book, The Lightweight Backpacker. Yeah. After the bug out weekend, I dropped 10 pounds out of it. Wow, that's pretty cool. Oh, and you, Mark, I have not finished. Yeah, you can line your load or just do more push-ups. Hey, let me tell you a joke about push-ups. One thing, it's a mind thing. Try push downs. For some reason, I'm able to do more. If I think about, instead of pushing up, I'm going to push the ground down. I guess it's just a mental thing. But the author would go as far as cutting his toothbrush in half. He went as far as removing the tags from his clothes. Wow. That reminds me of when I was bike racing. We would have some guy says, man, I got to lighten my bike. And I think in the Tour de France, the bikes have to be at least 17 pounds. But with all this new carbon fiber and all this, guys, I've got to lighten my bike. I would just say, hey, lose some weight. You know, um, you're the motor on the bike. But yeah, but I really, and see, one reason why mine is heavy is because I always carry equipment for a night, even though I'm not staying overnight, just in case. I'll carry it's a 5x7 emergency. Is it an emergency grabber blanket or grabber tarp, mylar, and then orange? I'll carry that with me. I'll carry some tent stakes or tent pegs. I really want to just get in the habit of going out there and making some, but then that's time consuming. Um, I always carry like this line gear 1 that's on me, line gear 2, which is I can just pick up a bag and haul away from the camp if I have to, or if I can't go back to the camp. On my line gear 1, I have a baby sack. I can sleep away from my camp. My gear 2, I can sleep away. Gear 3 is just going to be my rucksack that, hey, I can leave if necessary. But yeah, I really got to ounces equal pounds, get a haircut, and cut your toenails before heading out. Pretty cool, pretty cool. But yeah, but then I say, hey, why worry about the weight? Just get strong. Um, yeah, and a lot of walking. Um, but when I go to the park, I would carry just a regular backpack, with some water in it. Nothing tactical, nothing bushcrafted looking. I don't want people looking like, oh, that guy's preparing for something. But uh, I really got to get back into exercise. Yeah, when I was swimming, man, I was up in the morning, exercising, lifting weights. I would get off from work. I would go to the pool. I wouldn't leave the pool until they closed. Came home, hit the weights again. When I was bike racing, I train in the morning on my bike, go to work, come home, ride 40 or 50 miles. On weekends, it was nothing to ride 210, 220 miles, but it was fun. So, all the sports to me, it's about fun. Yeah, the Virginia Bushcraft experience is invaluable. Yeah, it's just so much to do, and I don't know what it is. I love making fires. Now, I don't know if this is a mental block or not. I have not attempted to make a bow drill or a hand drill. I've seen there's this one content creator, Expeditionary Johnny. That guy is great at doing bow drills, but I know all the components. I just haven't done it. And I think it's just a mental thing, because hey, Ferris Rod, yeah, that's easy now. Flint and steel, that's easy. But I haven't done the bow drill. I haven't done the hand drill, and there's also something called the plow drill. But they say you can order that set from Amazon, but I don't want to order it from Amazon. I want to do it strictly primitive. I want to go to the bush. I just redid my get home bag. That's something else I'm going to talk about in a few minutes. But yeah, I just want to go to the bush and harvest the wood and do it. Make my bow drill that way. I try to stay away as much as I can from manufactured things. Of course, my cutting tools are manufactured. Of course, my canteen and all of that. But when I go to the bush, I want to remain as primitive as possible. I always, always, always take at least 2 lighters and 2 boxes of matches, but I refuse to ever, 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 ever use them unless I absolutely necessarily have to. And I doubt if I will ever have to, because I always carry 2 ferrocerium rods, and I'll carry like magnesium. I'll carry fat wood shavings or dust. So I just carry that stuff as a precaution. True system. Yeah, but let's see. I think someone mentioned about they just did okay. That was a Vision just redid his get home bag. Now I am guilty of this. I have not prepared a get home or a bug out bag. I just haven't. And the reason why I haven't, I'm totally confused as to what I really want to go in there. I know if I start making a bug out bag, it's going to end up 50 pounds. I'm going to need this, and this. At some point, I'm just going to write down only this, and this can go in a bug out bag. Or this, and this can go out in the car. Now, something I am good at, in each one of my vehicles, I keep Gorilla Tape, I keep an air gauge, I keep a multi-tool, and I keep a folding knife. And in one of the cars, whichever car I drive the most, I'll carry some tools, and I keep flashlights in each one of my vehicles. And I've started carrying water in every last one of them. But yeah, I'm guilty of really not having a bug out bag or a bug in bag, because I've been saying, I'm not bugging out, I'm bugging in. And I'm just not, unless I absolutely have to. And like I said, this mental block about doing the bow drill and the hand drill, something else I'm going to have to put some time into. Yeah, that's why my bug out bag is my evac bag. Only if my house is on fire, I'm bugging in also. Yeah, I'm with you, Vision. Yeah, see, you should practice bow drill first with some scrap wood before making one from scratch. Yeah, that's a good idea. And Mark, more than likely, I'm going to try it in my backyard. Uh, because I think it's just a mental thing. It's like I've seen some guys on YouTube where it did in fact take them like 2 hours to do it. I saw one guy, he just wasn't successful, but he said, "Hey, I'm going to show you the bloopers as well." So, I think once I do it, I'll be fine. It's like when I first tried flint and steel, I was so hesitant. But now it's not a problem. But yeah, there are a lot of things that I have to work on. Lots of things. I never ever envisioned that it was so much to bushcrafting. To me, like, okay, bike racing, it was a destination. The destination was to win a race. What more can you do? You can only win a race or lose a race, or you can be the first one to lose the race by coming in second place. Football's destination to win the game, win the Super Bowl. Swimming, the destination is to win your heat. Tennis is to win your match. Boxing is to win the match. With bushcrafting, there is no destination. It's a long, long journey. It never ends. You can go around and around and around and up and down, over and under. It's just like um, a guy, he gifted me some ranger beads. Now, from what I've read and learned, that you do your count steps in meters. I'll be honest with you, meters and yards, to me, it's confusing. Hey, Shauna, how you doing? Thanks for dropping in. Put a broomstick in a cordless drill. Wow, broomstick and a cordless drill. Okay. Arlise, hey, how you doing? Delights, yeah, man. Arlise makes some good stuff, boy. That stuff looks so appetizing. I wish I was that great of a cook, but yeah, So what I thought about doing with the Ranger beads, I'm going to go to a high school. I'm going to get on the 100-yard. I'm going to get on the field. I'm going to do a pace count for 100 yards. So I think someone said usually like 62, 65, 67. I'm going to hit 100. I'll pull one of the Ranger beads down. I'll do that to really get my pace count. But they say as you go uphill, I believe your steps shorten. And when you come downhill, they're longer. So you'll get an estimate of your pace count. So, that's something else I have to learn. And something else that one of these days I want to do a video on navigation using a compass and my GPS system. I always take my GPS system with me, but I'm learning to use the compass, doing the what they call the azimuths and your bearings, and I'm getting pretty good with it. One thing that I don't know is that, let's say I go out into the bush and I don't set my compass. I need to learn how to say, okay, this is where I am. Now, how am I going to get back? I have been able to, well, one of the problems I've had before, I'll take my compass, I'll set a bearing, and I'll take off. Like if I know I'm going south, I know I'm coming back. If I know I'm going out north, I know I'm coming back south. And I'll follow my compass. But some kind of way, it's the latitude. It's like it's bringing me back to my destination, but why is it bringing me 50 yards away from my vehicle? They say it'll bring you back, but not directly. Now, with my GPS system, I'll go out, I'll come back with it, but with my GPS system, it never brings me back the exact same way that I went out. Now, the thing with the GPS system, hey, NYC Prep, how you doing, man? Now, the thing with my GPS system, I've gone out, and here again is why it's so important to be able to use a compass. I was out hunting once, and it was very, 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 very cold. And I was in the mountains. Now, it seemed like higher you get, the closer you get into a satellite. I was so far up in the mountains, I could not get a signal. So I stayed up in the tree all day long. When I came out of the tree, the only way I made it back to the road is by following my footsteps in the snow. Then when I got closer to the road, I picked up the signal. That's one incident that says, hey, you need to learn how to use a compass. Another time I started out, I went somewhere. I had, when I left, I had 4 bars on the GPS system. When I got maybe a mile or so, I was down to 1 bar. And the GPS system kind of went out. But I was able to say, you know what? Even though my GPS system has gone out, I'm just going to follow this stream, because if you follow a stream indefinitely, you're going to run into a road. So I finally ran into a road. I recognized where it was. I said, okay, all I got to do is go back maybe 100 yards, and that's where my vehicle will be. That's another incident. And there's one more incident where take 120 bearings and go 25 pieces. Okay, repeat that twice, and you should end up in the same spot. Take 120 degrees bearing and go 25 paces, 25 pieces. Repeat that twice. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna have to try that. But I'm saying this to say, as I've been told, don't depend on electronics. It's good to have them, but don't depend on them. Know how to use that compass. I remember one time I was at work and this guy said to me, he said, go out in the woods about 3 o'clock, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, close your eyes and turn around 3 times. I had some choice words for him. I was saying, like, who do you think is going to be that crazy to go out in the woods at 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning, close their eyes and turn around 3 times? Well, I'll tell you, when I realized something is that was a time to be a student instead of, lashing back at the guy. Because me and a guy went out once, and I was going to a location I had been before. We got to that location. I remember we went down a trail about maybe 300 yards. We made a left and went in about another 200 yards. And we were saying, okay, that's the road. That's the trail right there. So after staying there all day, it's like, okay, it's time to go. We packed up. We started walking. It's like, where's the trail? I said, we know we packed up. We're going to walk to this trail and make a right. Well, the thing about it, I guess after you're out there so long all day and you're doing this and you're doing that, you turn around, everything starts to look the same. Long story short, we were basically like kind of lost. we walked and we walked and we walked, and we ended up coming behind my vehicle. So something as so simple, like, we're going to walk to this trail, we're going to walk down 300 yards, we'll make a left. And I'm saying to myself, well, maybe I should have used some orange trailer tape, But, that goes to show you that you can get turned around so easily in the bush, not knowing, you may think you know where you're going, and it can happen. But I think the compass, it's invaluable. So that's one of the things I'm focusing on, is learning how to use a compass efficiently. But I've read things, and here again, I remember another time I got out of my vehicle. I was going, where was I going? I think was I bushcrafting or squirrel hunting? I'm not sure. And another guy came up and we started talking. So he said his car was like maybe 600 yards away. And I said, well, I'll drive you down. He said, no, that's okay. I'll walk. So he walked down and I took off. I was bushcrafting. That's what it was. So I took off, and I remember I had harvested a lot of wood, chopped a lot of wood, and I had more wood than was necessary. So when I go into the bush, I always bring some wood home with me. This time I said, there's no way I'm leaving this wood. So I put it in my rucksack, about 30 pounds of wood and with all my other stuff. So my rucksack was about 70 pounds. So I took off and I kept looking at my compass, and it was taking me further and further away. But I kept saying, you got to trust your compass. You got to trust your compass. Next thing you know, I was like 892 or 992 yards away from my vehicle. At that time, I said, you know what? I'm just going to use my GPS system. I said, man, forget this compass. And I kept saying, you know what? I'm truly lost. I should call the game warden. I said, but no, it's 3 o'clock in the daytime. I'm not going to waste the game warden's time coming to find me. It's going to cost money. That's taxpayers' money. I said, I'm going to use my GPS system. So it kept taking me closer and closer, but I kept running to all these thickets and everything. And I'm saying, but I got to follow this GPS system. And I'm going into I know it was someone like bear area. So every so often I would let her, I don't know, I would make a lot of noise, and then I would continue on. And I kept saying, man, this is taking me a long time. Next thing's like 4 o'clock. I said, man, I'm just going to call the game warden. And then it's like, nah, man, that's going to be too embarrassing to call a game warden to come and find you. And it's still daylight. Long story short, I finally made it back to my vehicle, and I was tired. You know the mistake I made? When I was talking to that guy, I never set my compass. That was the problem. So again, a learning experience. So whenever I go out to the bush and I get out of my vehicle, first thing I do, set my compass. And I'm still using my GPS system as a backup, because it's really not fun when you're tired and you got a rucksack, like 70 pounds. And it's like, of all the times, why would I get lost that particular time? It happens, but that's just a part of being in the bush. But and then I've known some guys that can go into the bush. Man, they can navigate so well. I mean, we would go to areas when we were hunting that we'd never been before, and this guy would just navigate, never get lost. I mean, it was totally amazing. And I told one guy, like, I don't know, man, I would never make it. I had another friend. He had this app on his phone. I think it was called Exxon or something, but it would give you a location, and it would have a picture of the wildlife management area that you're in. It would show you every trail, every stream, everything. And that was great that he had, but I kept saying, what happens if his battery dies out? What happens if he's put in his pocket and he think he's putting it in his back pocket and he drops it? So I mean, it worked well, but my main objective now is to learn how to use that compass efficiently. But I know it's going to take some time. But here again, this is what I mean by, when you go into the bush, it's just so much to learn. And I can only go like once a week at the most, 3 times out of the month. It's where, hey, with bike racing and band practice, baseball practice, you go numerous times a week. Bushcrafting, you gotta get out there when you can. But hey, killing and grilling. Hey, I hope I didn't miss anyone in the chat. But yeah, man, I appreciate all you guys coming in. But hey, any of you guys been out in the bush? Hey, let me know. Because I like hearing guys' comments, because I learned from that. And I even like, some guys give me criticism, but I know it's constructive criticism, and it really makes you think. Like I got a comment today about the mini Sawyer. I think the guy, I can't remember who he is. He says something. There's something called Be Free, where the flow of water is better than the mini Sawyer. So things like that is good to know. You should get a USGS topographical map of your neighborhood. Is a great way to get started. Yeah, you know what? I agree with you. Yeah. Yeah, because I think that's the only way. Yeah. I mean, when I was working, I used to work with in real estate, and I used to work with topo maps, but I didn't I wasn't ingrained with them. The engineers more or less used the topo maps, and I could read them and so forth, but I don't. I can't read them enough that I feel 100% confident in them. Yeah, my backyard is the bush. Yeah, yeah. Oh, Vision, I would love to have your backyard. Yeah, man, I would love to have your backyard. I mean, the closest place that I can go from my residence is like 18 to 20 miles. But what I do now, I go to different wildlife management areas. I don't want to go to the same ones over and over and over and over. But because you learn from that going to different locations. And thing is that you have to gauge, when you're going to another location, like the closest one to my home, it's like, hey, I'm comfortable leaving at 7 in the morning, 8 in the morning. But there are some that, I need to be in my vehicle on my way by 6 o'clock so I can reach by 7 o'clock, because then I got to trek in, being unfamiliar with it. It's like, is this a good place? Is this a good location? Is that a location? Well, let me try this location, um, things like that. But yeah, it's just so much to it. So much to it. It's just, to me, man, it's just a true enjoyment. And one of the most beautiful times for me in the bush, it's like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 2:30 in the morning. Man, you see all those nice coals. You see the smoke coming up from the fire, that crackling and popping. You can't go to any store and purchase that type of piece. You just can't. I remember the last time I was in the bush, I'm just laying there and I see this snake about 2 feet long just trekking right on through. It's like, hey, that's part of nature. At least it's not a bear, you know. So but yeah, you just can't get that in, just like, hey, when I was swimming. You can't get that peace when you're underwater. That was such a great feeling, just being underwater, um, trying to be underwater the length of the pool, or when I'm out on a bike and I'm 40, 50 miles away from home, and then I got to ride back, even though I'm tired. I'm not in a race. I can just ride and smell the roses and things like that. That's where when you're in a bike race and you're going for speed, you're not smelling any roses. You're just trying to, like, who's behind me, or can I get in this little line or something like this without crashing? But yeah, you need to come up. Yeah, you need. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you're right, Vision. Yeah, right now I'm just visiting some relatives. But like I said, man, I'm coming. And when I get back, it's like, it'll be like October, so I know it's gonna be cooler. But yeah, drive time and setting up is a lot. Yeah, you got to take all that into account. Yeah, most counties have GIS mapping on the website. They are scaled maps, and you could print them out. Yeah, Mark. But honestly, man, I got to learn how to read those, because, like I said, each map has some different scales. I'll just that's real peace. Yeah, but that the thing is, I don't know. I honestly, I guess this is not a good thing, but I like just being out in the bush. It's like learning, and it's the homework. You have to do the studying. You got to come home and do a video. It's like, I wish I had someone to do that. I just want to go out in the bush, hey, have my fun, and then have someone come back and edit my video and do all that good stuff. And like, okay, here's how you read the map. Have an instructor, but again, it's part of learning and practicing. That's what it's all about, learning and practicing. So I mean, even when I'm not in the bush, it's like every day, it's like, even if I don't get out of the bush, I got to learn something. I have to learn something. If it's not anything about, like today, I just went to a location that sell knives, and it just, I see all these fantastic knives, but learning the steel, the difference between the 1075 carbon steel and the 1095 carbon steel, Damascus steel, the Crovan steel, um, the hardness, the heat, the Rockwell of it. Those important things. And then I see why. Hey, Devil Dog, how you doing? Thanks for dropping in. I see why the prices of cutting tools can escalate to, I mean, some very, very high prices, you know. But I recently purchased an axe, an S-wing axe, and I can't wait to use it. And the reason why I bought that axe is because I have a 13-inch hatchet S-wing. I love it. It's awesome. I have a 26-inch axe. I've only taken out in the bush one time, but I think that 26-inch axe is more or less homesteading, you know, used for doing homesteading chores. But this, they advertise it as 16 inches, but it's actually 18.75. And I put a lanyard on it. I mean, I like it so much. I even went and bought me a new pair of leather gloves. Man, the grip on that axe, I can't wait to put it into some wood, you know, because it has this shock absorber. It's like 70% reducing the shock. With the gloves, it's going to go to like maybe 80%. So I'm going to be using that one a lot. And the reason why I really wanted it, by it being longer, being 18.75 inches as opposed to 13, that's going to give me more leverage, which means a faster swinging speed, which means it's going to sink into the wood faster. The edge is 4 inches as opposed to 3.5. The cutting edge is 4 inches as opposed to 3.5 inches. So I'm going to be able to swing. It's heavier, so it's going to be a greater impact. It's going to sink into the wood more. And I'm saying that's going to equal to using less energy, less time. So, but you know, I really did need it. I did not want to get a wooden handle because I had the experience. I had one and the head became loose, and I did not want to pay that type of money for it's called a Gransford Brooks, and there are a lot of very nice axes, but they really cost. And this one was like very budget friendly. Hey, $60. I mean, one piece tubular. I think it's 1055 still. Um, yeah, I can't wait to use it, man. Just go out there and chop some wood up, split some wood, you know, make some feather sticks with it, you know, really put it to the test, you know. And I still even have some cutting tools that I haven't even taken to the bush. Might want to use some grip tape on axe handles, like baseball bat, also known as lizard skin. Yardbird, great idea. Because I think it was Cold Cracker, he said he uses tennis grip. But yeah, because I think, yeah, okay, so some grip, might want to see some grip tape on accident. Yeah, because I don't know if you guys remember, I bought it's really a machete from a yard sale last year. I'll go ahead and tell you guys, you know, I said it's budget friendly. I bought I think it's like the blade cutting is like 14 inches. I bought it for $3. It didn't have a handle on it though. So I used some bicycle tube and some Gorilla tape. But what I really want to put on that, I want to take that off and put some tennis tape, or like you said, some baseball tape. You know, that's what I'm got to hit the sack. Everyone, 5 is coming quick. Stay safe. All right, Vision man, you have a good night's sleep, man, and I'll see you on your next. Today is? What's today? Whatever today is. I don't know. Is it Monday? I think it's Monday. You guys live, yeah, I think it is. Today is Monday. Yeah, so I'll see you tomorrow, Vision. One good thing about a wooden handle is that if it breaks, you can make a new one. Yeah, Mark, I was thinking that's one of the advantages, you know, because I like to do like when I buy something pro and con, but I'm thinking, okay, yeah, I can make another handle, but yeah, I can make another handle. Now, the negative thing about I think the S-wing, you can bend them. You know, I've seen videos where they've been bent, but that's if you're doing something irresponsible. If you're using it properly, you're not going to bend it. But yeah, that is true. I've thought about that often when I had I think it was a council tool hatchet, and I'm out there. I think it was the third time I'm pounding into some wood, and I felt something. It's like the head is loose. And I said, I can put a nail in here and tighten it up, but it's like, if I have to do that, no, I don't want it. Have a blessed, okay, yeah. Fallen Sky, how you doing? Thanks for dropping in, man. Yeah, but yeah, man, I'm gonna tell you, it's it's guys, man, I'm just telling you, really, you got to go into the bush. It's just peaceful. It's like so rewarding. The first time I made a fire using a ferrocim rod, I remember, okay, I bought this cold steel knife. Um, Again, it's steel with a little ferrocim rod, and I'm out fishing one night. Actually, it was in the morning. It's like, I'm just gonna make a fire. I couldn't make a fire for anything. So I took the edge, the bladed edge. I struck the ferrocim rod, and I got some sparks. I ended up trying to make it for about 45 minutes, trying to make a fire. And I made the fire, it went out. It's like I didn't know anything about, I was putting dried leaves, and I probably had green twigs, and I didn't know anything. But I got a little fire going. Man, that was the most rewarding thing. So, those are like the baby steps. It's like McBean Scottish Fitness says, slow and steady. You'll get to where you're going. But yeah, that's it's like a step by step. Bicycle inner tubes are good for making grips. Yeah, that's what I have on my I call it my yard sale tool that I bought. You can also cut them into sections to make ranger beads. Oh, good idea. Yeah, that's a good idea. But yeah, the bicycle. Yeah, I carry a bicycle inner tube as part of my fire kit. But yeah, I do have with the bicycle tube. What I did, I on my yard sale cutting tool, I took two pieces of wood, kind of shaved them somewhat to make a swell, and then I wrapped it with bicycle tube, and then I wrapped it with Gorilla Tape. Now the thing about the Gorilla Tape, it's a little slick. So but I know, I mean, it fits my hand comfortably, but I think the best thing would be some type of tennis tape or baseball tape or something like that. You know how something works well, but it's not 100% comfortable. Man, my yard sale cutting tool, it works well, but it's still not 100%. Yeah, you should kneel in front in front of your work while you're using a hand axe. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you should, to prevent injuries. That way, if you miss, you hit the ground. That's right. Yeah, I watched. What's the guy? His name is Dave on Really Big Monkey One. He's given a lot of demonstrations on how to chop logs and how to avoid injuries. And one thing he said is that when you take that hatchet and you're swinging it, and you bring your right hand back up to the head and you swing it back down. If you're swinging that in that direction, your left leg should be pivoted backwards. And then when you go to the other side, you're changing your hand grip. Whereas when you're raising the axe up, your left hand goes up, and as you swing it downward, then your right leg is going to be out of the way. So if you miss, your leg won't be there. And he was showing this technique of how you have a log in front of the log that you're cutting. So if you miss, you hit the log. Yeah, I mean, that would be a bad situation. To cut yourself, 1 or 2 in the morning. But one thing I don't do, that's why I make sure I have all my wood harvested and processed, because I'm not going to be chopping or splitting wood, at night or early in the morning. And he was saying, when you baton wood and you split it, that's actually contact, which is safer than using impact. So when you're chopping with a hatchet or an axe and splitting, that is compact action, where it is much safer to do that is impact, and it's much safer to do contact, by having your knife on the wood, hitting with a baton. So that's a lot safer. You're not gonna cut yourself, But I'm talking about splitting a log with a full-size maul in the rain. It hurts a lot. Wow, I don't think yeah, full-size maul. I've been in some stores and picked up that full-size maul. Yeah, that's for splitting some large stuff. Yeah. That way, if you miss, yeah, you hit the ground. You're right. You're right. I agree with that. Yeah, that's yeah, guys, because my thing is that, man, one thing about it, I think the last thing anyone should want to happen is to injure yourself when it's dark at night and you're by yourself. You know, the worst I've done is cut myself with a knife, and it was I mean, it barely required a band-aid. Um, but yeah, and it's just like yesterday. Um, was it yesterday or the day before? Whenever I was making a video, and the knife, I don't know if you guys saw it, the knife dropped, but I have it in my mind. You never reach to pick up or catch a knife. Never ever reach to catch a knife. It hit my table and went to the floor. So the thing is just like, I'm not touching it. Never, ever, ever, ever try to catch a knife. So that's embedded in me. Yeah. I'm talking about, okay, you should see the log split I made with an old wedge. It's in my fixing things playlist. Okay. I reconditioned an old wedge and welded to to a plate. You put the log on top and hit the log. Yeah, so it's in your playlist. Okay. Yeah, I check that out. Yeah, that's what I mean by learning. You learn. I mean, bushcrafting is being a student, learning and learning and learning. I think again, this is one endeavor that there is no destination. I mean, it's a journey that continues to go and go and go and go. It's I just thoroughly enjoy. And then you have the bushcrafting, you have prepping, and even when you go bushcrafting, you're still prepping. When you go and harvest wood and process it, you're prepping. You're prepping to be safe that night. When you go and source that water, you're prepping and survival. Now, survival, you can thrust yourself into a survival situation, or you may just happen to get into a survival situation that's due to not your fault at all. Rainstorm comes or something like that, or you accidentally step in a hole at night or something like that. uh, you get into a survival situation, you have to think, am I in a area that's going to be easily located, or do I move to an area that I can draw more attention to, or is there greenery around that I can light and have smoke going up? So even when you're bushcrafting, prepping and survival is a part of that. Prepping, you're taking your medical kit. That's part of prepping. You're prepping, and I tell people, every person is a prepper. If you have car insurance, you're a prepper. You're preparing yourself for something that you hope doesn't happen. If you have a spare tire, you're prepping, because you're prepping in the event you have a flat, that at least you can make it to a place safe. Having a savings account, you're prepping, because emergencies will come. It's not a matter of if, they will. So every person is a prepper in some form. So yeah, practice does not make perfect. Only perfect practice makes perfect. Yeah, my grandma used to tell me that. Yeah, that's true. That's so true. There were many things, like when I first started bike racing, practice, 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 practice. The guy said, but you can do this better if you do this, if you adjust your seat this way. So yeah, you can practice and practice, but learn from people who've been doing it a long time and just try some of the things. Some of the things, it may work for you. Sometimes it may not. But my thing is, at least try it because you just never know. Gotta go, Stephen. Good night, everyone. Yeah, okay, Mark. Thanks for dropping in. I definitely appreciate it. Oh, wow. So I've been on here like an hour and 15 minutes. Hey guys, I just wanted to come on in here and just talk about bushcrafting for a little while because I won't be getting into the bush until October. So sad, but I'm going to be continuing to learning. I plan on doing some fishing as well. So guys, I appreciate you all coming in. I see I got 21 thumbs up. Appreciate it. Hey, hit that thumbs up. I would definitely appreciate it. And I hope to see all you guys again on my next video or in a live or on someone else's channel. So in the meantime, you guys have a good night. I'm going to let you go. And I'm just going to finish out the night doing whatever. All right. Thanks, guys. See you later. Take care.